Back again, chapter 13 of The Road from Orion. The night. Knighthood should be seen then as a superior kind of pedagogy, helping to bring about the transmutation of natural man, steedless, into spiritual man. Dictionary of Symbols, J.E. Surlott. Just then, a man about 50 with a strong constitution, spare body of a meager visage, appeared from nowhere brandishing a sword and riding a blemished drudge horse. I recognized him immediately, for he was wearing rusty knight armor and a helmet with a do-it-yourself visor. The knight was Don Quick Coke on his trusting steed, Rosinati. Believing that his appearance now must be due to my recent conversion to Plato's philosophy of not relying on the senses, along with the old philosopher's revenge on me for cursing him. When the vine over the abyss gave way, I watched in disbelief as Quacoke galloped Rosinati into a flock of innocent sheep, butchering an ewe and 2 rams. I knew Quacoke from Cervantes' fictional masterpiece, which detailed the adventures of the crazy idealist who thought the windmills were giants and sheep were armies of men. In Cervantes' comic satire, his hero is obsessed with reviving the gallant morality of the age of chivalry and knighthood. I watched as the unremitting Quacoke, slashing his sword like the bird monster's beak, randomly killed 4 more innocent sheep. If this was what they called chivalry, maybe it was best it was dead. Running down the jade hillside to stop the senseless slaughter of innocent animals, I saw, as if from nowhere, several enraged sheep herders hurtling rocks at the madman Quacoke. He took a rather large stone on his side, then his mouth, and fell off his horse. Just as the sheep herders surrounded him to finish him off, I screamed in alarm because I had seen enough blood and gore in Bacchus' Inferium. Detecting me, waving my arms wildly and running toward them, the sheep herder quickly gathered up their dead sheep and scattered. Breathless, I approached the dazed Quacoke, who was missing several teeth and bleeding. Rubbing his chin, he looked at me and spoke. I too believe in Plato. Disgusted, I immediately understood what he meant. He had his sheep to slay, his armies of men, and I had my abyss to escape. Whether or not sheep were men or escape routes really existed was unimportant for Quacote's idealism and my new perceptions now stretched beyond what most people believe to be real, that is, physical sensations and material things. Wherever the hell I was, we were dealing with ideal reality. Still, the thought troubled me as to why I was here with Don Quacoke. I had not imagined or conjured up any fashion other than ingesting the white powder. Then I realized that John must have read what Cervantes wrote about the night, Most annoying to me, Quote professed to be a Platonist. I began cursing Plato again, silently this time, as I squinted at the madman who Cervantes penned as the light and mirror of Macangon chivalry, Mancagon chivalry. Staying clear-headed to avoid my own fear that I was somehow involved in Quote's next scheme, I said, I hope I'm not your next adventure. Quote was silent. Being a knight errant in quest of victory and adventures, he understood that only lofty, illustrious, magnificent, and true exploits were worthy of his attention. Frowning and full of thought, he calmly said, this is no history of human affairs which is not full of reverses. And venturing forth with you would be a setback that could be remedied by certain stipulations if you are willing. Although hearing this complete comment, I could only focus on the part that I was a reverse in the history of human affairs. For a brief moment, I ignored the offense, for I came to grips with the surprising idea that I truly wanted to go on an adventure. Modern life lack adventure. Get up, eat, go to work, eat, come home, eat, read, write, TV, eat, same cycle, same job, same people, same address, so the government knew exactly where to send its tax forms. I wanted to rise above my own nature and my fears. I wanted to transcend the illusions and boundaries of my own ego, the way I had when I imagined the angled ledge that saved me from deciding between dying in the woods or the abyss. But from what I had just witnessed and from what John had read, Quote's adventure lacked depth, dignity, and chivalry. For example, in the book, Quote comes up upon 30 or 40 windmills and that he construes to be giants despite his Squire Sancho's insistence that they were windmills. Spurring his horse, he charges the first windmill, catching his lance in its sails. The wind whirls the lance round, shattering it to bits, and violently drags Quincote and his horse after it. Not only an idiot would attack a windmill, this was as foolish as Ahab spearing the monstrous white whale in Melville's classic. Still, Quote insisted on his follies, especially that of attacking sheep, for with his bizarre imagination, the sound of bleating sheep fired off neurons in his brain that made him believe an army of men on horseback were blaring trumpets and drum rolls needed conquest. All this in the name of chivalry. This type of adventure did not interest me, and Cervantes' book was full of Quincote's weird escapades. Yes, Quincote had the insolence to say that an adventure with me would be a reverse. The insolence, rather, to say that an adventure with me would be a reverse. The more I thought about it, the less I wanted to go with him anywhere. In fact, I seriously wish I had let the sheep herders have their way with him. Then, to my annoyance, he continued. First, he said, greatness of soul is required to face the dangers we meet in this adventure, along with patience in adversity, fortitude in suffering, modesty, continuance in love, so truly platonic. Second, I'm going to call you Psyche, not so much because of the Greek myth, but because you remind me of a moth. Third, so that humans everywhere will understand our logic, we will unveil true knowledge using the philosophic method, intuition first, followed by vision, then deduction, which takes premise to conclusions so that the observed evidence will be linked together.